Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Dylan and I am sorry. It's been a long time since we posted. Guys, this is paper 3 finally. Hundreds of comments. We did paper 1, we did paper 2, and then we just got busy because, you know what? We're teachers, we work in a school, things get busy, especially this time of year. So I'm very sorry it's taken this long, but we are here now with paper 3 and I would love it if you like this video. I'd love it if you subscribe because we will get more videos to you. And please leave us a comment down below because what we've been working on is actually really exciting. Obviously, we're TD Tutoring. We run our tutoring company. And from September, we're going to have services for Year 4 children, Year 5 children, and Year 6 children. Whether you're preparing for the 11+, whether you're preparing for the SATs papers, whether you just want to get ready for secondary school, we've got something for you. So I'm going to whack a link in the description down below if it's something you might be interested in. Please do take a look. Anyway, let's take a look at this paper 3 reason and the real reason why we're here. So, like I said, we've looked at the arithmetic already. We've looked at paper 1, which was pretty tricky. I must say the paper 1 for reasoning rather. So I guess paper 2 technically. But the first reasoning paper was tricky. And I think this paper was a little bit more straightforward. But let's find out. These shapes have a fraction shaded. Match each shaded fraction of a circle to the same shaded fraction of a rectangle. One has been done for you. Something you might want to do in this one is simply label down the side. If I make it a bit smaller, it might fit into one page. There we go. You might want to label down the side. This is 1 out of 4. 1 shaded out of 4 equal parts. So which one down this side do we see 1 shaded out of 4? Well, we don't actually see any. This is 6 shaded out of 10. This is 3 shaded out of 6. And, 4 shaded out of 6. My goodness. And down here, this is 2 shaded out of 8. So we don't actually see 1 out of 4, but this is an equivalent fraction question. What is 1 out of 4 equivalent to? Well, it is the same as 2 out of 8, because if we multiply the numerator and denominator by 2, we get 2 out of 8, which is equal. We could also prove it. We could just snap this in half like this. Now we've got 8 equal parts. I promise you they're equal. Ignore my dodgy line. But now we have 2 out of 8, which is the same down the bottom. Next one is 2 out of 3. Which fraction is equivalent to 2 out of 3? Yep, it's 4 out of 6 again. 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 2 is 6, then we get 4 out of 6. And finally at the bottom, this is 3 out of 5, which is only one left. And luckily for us, it's 6 out of 10. Again, it's an equivalent fraction question, simple as that. Next up, question 2. The temperature in a freezer is minus 40 degrees C. The temperature increases by 10 degrees C. What is the new temperature? Very simple question here, but it's just testing to see if you don't get trapped or not. You see 40, you see increase by 10, you might be tempted to write down 50. No, because if we've got a temperature scale like this, and let's say we're at minus 40, if we're getting bigger, if the temperature is increasing, we're actually moving towards 0, aren't we? Because that's getting more and more hot in temperature wise. So 10 jumps up, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is not to scale, would be actually negative 30. So we'll put negative 30 in there. Don't be tricked. When it's in negative numbers, if we're getting bigger, with the actual number we see seems to be getting smaller, but it's not. We know it's increasing in temperature. Question 3. Jack buys milk and orange juice from a shop. He pays with a £5 note. Classic. How much money is spent? How much change does he get? So how much change does Jack get? Well, firstly, look, 2-mark question. There's probably 2 things we've got to do. Let's find out how much he actually spent first. He did £1.45 plus £2.40. In my opinion, guys, this is about as straightforward as a change question gets. 5 in the 1p's, 8 in the 10p's, decimal place. 1 plus 2 is 3. £3.85. Don't put that in the box. That's not the answer. If you stop here, you will get 0 out of 2 because you've not shown full working out. Now you need to take the difference between £3.85. Again, you could do column method. I'd like to do jumps, especially with change and 2 zeros here. Lots of exchanging otherwise. How much do I need to jump to get from £3.85 to £5? Well, the jump up to £4, that's going to be 15p. And then we have £1 left over. So £1 and 15p. Just make sure you write it correctly with the decimal, £1.15. Next up, question 4. The diameter of the moon is 3,476 kilometers. What is the diameter to the nearest 100 kilometers? This is just a rounding question. And I like to do rounding like this. We've done a whole video on our channel, by the way, if you want to see how to round properly. To the nearest 100, there's a couple of ways here. You can just say the number and stop when you get to the hundreds. So 3,400, stop. It's either going to be 3,400, which is the 100 in the question, or the next 100, if we add on 100 more, we have 3,500. Now it's a simple question. What are we closer to? Are we closer to 3,400 or 3,500? Here's where we can check the next digit. It's a 70. We're much closer. We're past halfway. We're going to be 3,500 kilometers. Simple rounding question. Question 5. Match each of these Roman numerals to the correct number. One has been done for you. C is 100, V is 5, and I is 1. So that's 105 and 1, which is 106, obviously. Now we have D's here. You might be thinking, oh gosh, what's D? Oh, I can't remember what D is. Well, if you're in that boat, look, go down to the bottom one here. M, that's a very common one. That's 1,000. C is 100 and X is 10. So that's 1,110. Cool. We can match these up now. And that means that D has to be something to do with these two numbers. And now you might get your memory jogging and go, oh, of course, D is 500. So D is 500. So we've got 500 in both, which again doesn't separate it, but the difference is going to be what comes after D now. X and C. Well, that's 10, but it's before C, which is 100. So we think what number is 10 before 100? 10 less than 100, right? So that's going to be 90. So we get 590. We can match it up. And even if you didn't know what L meant, or X meant, or X meant, or I, even if you didn't know, well, guess what? You've only got one left. L means 50, by the way. XX is 20. I is 1. 50, 21. That's 71. And you've got a mark. Or is it 2 marks? No, just 1 mark. Wow, 1 mark. You need to get all of them right for a mark. Question 6. Match each fraction to its simplified equivalent. Now, this is basically like question 1, isn't it? It's just equivalent fractions again. To simplify, it's just equivalent, like I said, but we're dividing. Instead of multiplying the top and the bottom, we're just going to divide by the same number now. You can see here 12 over 18 goes to 2 over 3 because we divide both by 6. 12 over 20. Well, let's think what number goes into both 12 and 20. I can think straight away of 2. So I'm going to do 6 over 10. Cool, but that's not there. So when we're simplifying, we might think again, okay, there's a number going to 6 and 10. Yeah, 2 again. So we're going to divide by 2. I get 3 over 5. And yes, look, finally, I've got 3 over 5. You might have noticed straight away that 4 goes into 12 and 20. You can just divide by 4 straight away. You'd get the answer. But if you get an answer that isn't there, just keep simplifying. 12 over 15. Okay, I can see these both go into 3. So I'm going to divide by 3. I'm going to get 4 over 5. Again, luckily for me, that's up the top. And then there's only one left, 12 over 16, which if we divide both by 4, we get 3 over 4. Next question, question 7. Emma thinks of a number. I multiply by 2, I add 11, I divide by 3, my answer is 9. What number did Emma think of? This is just an inverse machine. My answer is 9, so I'm going to put 9 as the answer, equals. I divide by 3, so we divide by 3. I add 11, I multiply by 2. So I worked backwards, I didn't really need to here, because basically we're starting with something. And if you read it in order, there was no need for me to go backwards then. Multiply by 2, add 11, divide by 3, the answer is 9. We're just going to work backwards now. So we're going to start with 9. And in fact, you know what? You can draw it over this way. Because we're doing the inverse, we can just do the opposite. But we must work backwards. So starting at 9, the next thing, the last thing we did rather, was divide by 3. So now I'm going to times by 3. Then I get 27. Cool. So I've got 27 and I've done this bit. Then next thing was add 11. So I'm going to take away 11. 27 take away 11 is going to give me 16. Cool. I've done this. I've done the inverse now. And finally, multiply by 2. The inverse of that is divide by 2. And I end up with 8. And I've done all 3 steps. And I must have started with 8. Let's move on to the next question. Let's have a look. Question 8. Here is a shape. Draw the shape after it is translated 8 units to the right. Go to each corner for this. We've done a million videos on our channel, guys, for this one. Go to each corner and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the line, 6, 7, 8. And you'll notice, look, if we look at the x-axis, it's on -5. And then we add on 8, we get to 3. So that's how we can make sure. -2, add on 8, we should end up with 6. -3, add on 8, we should end up at 5. You can count 8 if you're more less confident at doing this. It's no problem. And then -6, again, add on 8, we get -2. Draw the shape. Your shape's going to be much better than mine because I'm doing it freehand with the mouse, the famous mouse. Bit rubbish, but look, you get the idea. As long as it's 8 over, you're going to get the mark, no problem. Question 9, write the missing numbers in the table. Number of weeks 1, number of days 7, number of weeks 2, number of days 14. This is just multiplying by 7 because we know the number of weeks, the number of days is the number of weeks multiplied by 7. There are 7 days in a week. 6 times 7, just testing out your maths, 42. Do you know what's great about this? What's really interesting? 2 plus 4 is 6. So you can just do 14 plus 28 if you weren't sure in your times tables. Again, 10. Well, once you've worked this out, 4 plus 6 is 10. So you can do 28 plus 42. But you know what? I'm pretty sure you know your 10 times tables. And lastly, 105. There's no shortcut here. We've got to keep counting up, basically. But this is what we can do. We know that 10 lots from above is 70. So what do you need to add to 70? How many extra days, oh, not a plus sign, to get to 105 days? Well, if you know that's 35, 70 plus 35 is 105, you might think backwards, well, how many weeks would 35 be? If you know your 5 times table, you know it's 7 times 5. So it's going to be 5 weeks rather, not 7, don't get trapped. So we get 15 weeks in total would go in this box here. Again, you need all of this for 1 mark. Question 10. What is the perimeter of the shape in millimeters? Use a ruler. I can't show you this one because I don't have a ruler. But what's really important, I'm going to show you right now, are 2 things in this question. If you have a ruler, looks like this, often it starts a little bit further in. So this is where you have to line your line up to at the start. And then the next thing is make sure you're actually measuring in millimeters. Okay, because it will look something like this. If I've zoomed in, it might say 0, it might say 1 centimeter. That is not a millimeter. Each of these small lines in the middle would be a millimeter. There are 10 millimeters in a centimeter. So be really careful that you do measure it in millimeters when you get this. And for perimeter, you'd have to measure 1, 2, 3, 4 sides and then add them all up. That's to get 1 mark there. Measure the angle of angle D. Again, I can't do this. I don't have a protractor on my screen. However, with a protractor, we've done a whole video on how to use a protractor properly. Protractor would look like this. Oh my gosh, it was going so well until I had to draw a curve. What you'd have to do is at every corner here, well, just this one because we're measuring D, you'd have to line up this line with this line, make sure the point lines up with the point, and then look, you'd be reading from 0, how far has it turned up to there. That answer is going to be roughly between 50 and 60 degrees, I reckon, but I can't tell you exactly. You just need to be able to use a protractor. If you're watching this thinking, oh, I watched this because I got stuck in this question. I want to know how to use a protractor. Go and watch our video. We did a whole video on using a protractor. It's on our channel. Question 11. We'll write the missing digits to make this subtraction correct. Something take away 5 is 8. Okay, well, moving backwards, I do 8. If I add on 5, I get 13. What? 13? How can that be true? 3 take away 5 isn't 8. No, because we had to do some exchanging. So we had to make that 13. You can use this. You can do exchanging still in these missing digit questions. It doesn't make a difference. 6 take away blank is 6. Well, that's just going to be 0. And then 5 take away 3 is 2. If you really wanted to check that it all works, you could then write out the question again. 5, 7, 3 without the exchanging, remember. Take away 305. See what you get. You will get 5 take away 3. Do that exchange we talked about. That's going to be 8. That's going to be 6. That's going to be 2. Yes. Brilliant. Now gets 2 marks. 1 mark, you need 2 of those digits. So 2 marks, you need all 3. Question 12. Here are 4 fractions. Write the fractions in order, starting with the least, the smallest. Interesting. Well, firstly, I can't do much at the minute. Why? Well, because they're all different denominators. 7 over 8, 1 over 5, 3 over 4, 8 over 10. However, I can nice and neatly get rid of 1 over 5 because I know that's less than a half. All the others are more than a half. 1 over 5 is way smaller than 7 over 8 3/4 or 8 over 10. And the great thing is as well, if you know your decimal equivalents, you know this is 0.2. You know quarters is 0.25, so 3 of them is 0.75. Go back to my 0.2, make it 2 decimal places for comparison. And you know what, I've already done this anyway. 8 over 10 is clearly 0.8. I'm going to make it 2 decimal places again, just for comparison. And 7 over 8, if you know that 1/8 is 0.125, which we say is really important to know, just take that off one whole and we get 0.875. Now I've got 3 decimal places here, add a decimal place, add a decimal place. So the next smallest is 3/4. 0.750, then it's 8/10, 0.800, and then finally 7/8 is the largest, which is 0.875. If you were stuck, you could find a common denominator here of 40. Yeah, because 8 goes into 40, 4 goes into 40, 10 goes into 40. You could change all the fractions. It would take longer, but it would be a valid way of working out this question. But if you know your decimals, that's how you can answer it much more quickly. Question 13, there are 20 boxes on a truck. The boxes are in 4 different sizes. 4 of these, 8 of these, 6 of these, 2 of these. Oh my gosh. What is the total mass of the 20 boxes on the truck? Well, it's quite simple really. We just need to do 4 multiplied by 6.5. We need to do 8 multiplied by 4. We need to do 6 multiplied by 2.5. And we need to do 2 multiplied by 13. When we've got all of those, we add them all up. Simple as that. 2 times 13 is 26. 6 times 2.5. Quick way to do this. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 0.5 is 3, so that's going to get me 15. Just split it up into 2.5. 8 times 4, simple times tables. Excuse me, 32. 4 times 6.5, or you could take 6.5 times 4. When I times by 4, I double it, then I double it again. 6.5 doubles is 13. Double it again is 26. And now I've got all these, I simply add them up. I'm going to do them in order down here because I've already written them like this, and I can do 4 at once because I'm just adding. 6 plus 2 is 8, plus 5 is 13, plus 6 is 19. And then we exchange over the 1. 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 1 is 6, 7, 8, and then the 1 down the bottom. It is 99 kilograms on the back of the truck. Lovely. Next one, question 14. Look at the data in this table. Label, A, B, C, D, E, percentage, blah, 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 blah. Let's see what we need in the question below. Using this data, draw 2 lines and write 3 labels to complete the pie chart. Use a ruler. Okay, first things first. Let's take a look at how many parts we've split this into. So we start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is halfway. So we're going to be 10, I think. 6, 7, 8, 9, yes, 10. So each one of these is 10%. That's what we need to know. And we can check that with A because we have 2 lots of 10%. So A should be 20% in the table. Yes, it is. B, we've got 25%, 10, 10, and 5. Cool, that works. C is 15%. So we know 5% will get us to here. And then another 10% gets us to 15. So the first line we're going to draw is coming off that point. I'm going to label it C. That's the first line. Then D is 30%. Okay, we go 1, 2, 3. Cool. D is going to go to there, which is going to be 30%. And we're left with 10%, which should be E. We can check in the table. Yes, yes, yes. So those 2 lines mean we get C, D, and E. Each chunk was 10%. We've worked it out. Beautiful. Question 15. 35% of 680 pupils at school have a pet dog. Do you have a pet dog? Write dog in the comments, or cat, or whatever pet you have. Write down in the comments. Let me know. We can really confuse Hayden because we can make the comments just full of names of pets. Brilliant. 159 of the pupils who have a pet dog are boys. How many pupils who have a pet dog are girls? First thing, we need to work out how many actually have a pet dog, which is 35% of 680. That'll tell us how many have a pet dog. So let's start with that. 680 is the full amount. So to work out 35%, I'm going to work out 10%, which I just divide by 10. So 10% is 68 pupils. And then so 30% is 3 lots of that. We can do 68 multiplied by 3. If you know times tables, this is so easy. 3 times 8 is 24. 3 times 6 is 18, plus the 2 is 20. So 204 is 30%, but it's 35%. Well, guess what? If you know 10%, you can work out 5% really easily. You half 10%. So half of 68 is 34. Then we add that on underneath. 204 plus 34. 8 in the ones, 3 in the tens, 2 in the hundreds. 238 of these children have a pet dog. If you put that in the answer box, or if you stop here, guess what? You get 0 out of 2. The only way to get 1 mark on these 2 mark questions is to show all of your working out. So let's keep going. 159 of the pupils are boys, of those who had a pet dog. So how many are girls? Well, we have to do 238. We have to subtract 159 and see what we're left with. Whatever we're left with will be how many of those are girls. 8 take away 9. We can't do that in this question. So we're going to exchange. 18 take away 9 is 9. 2 take away 5. Again, we're going to have to exchange. 12 take away 5 is 7. 1 take away 1 is 0. 79. Whoa. Are girls. Now we've done both steps. We get 2 marks. Bob's your uncle. Question 16. Write a number in the box to make this correct. 3 over 5 is less than something over 100, which is less than 0.7. Well, you know what? Easy way we can do this. Let's change this into over 100. So 5 into 100, that's 20 times bigger. So do the same to the top. We get 60 over 100 is less than, something over 100 is less than 0.7. Well, good thing for us, 7/10 we know is 70 hundredths. So, oh my gosh, that writing is terrible. I'm so sorry. Right, 70 over 100. Cool. So it got to be less than 70 over 100, but more than 60 over 100. You could have any number from 61 up until 69. Anything in the 60s, you'd get a mark. Any of those answers are correct. Question 17. Tick the numbers that are factors of both 54 and 72. Well, straight away, they're both even. So we should be ticking the 2 number. Are they both from the 3 times table? Nice little trick for 3 times table. Let me just get this question in the screen. Nice little trick for 3 times table. Add up the digits. If it's the answer is a multiple of 3, then that number is a multiple of 3. Let me show you what I mean. 54, 5 plus 4 is 9. So that's in the 3 times table. 7 plus 2 is 9. So that's in the 3 times table. Give that a tick. Are they in the 4 times table? Well, again, quick way to do this. Straight up to 40. We know 40 is in the 4 times table because it's 10 lots of 4. 44, 48, 52, 56. We've skipped 54, so we don't tick 4. Are these in the 8 times table? Well, again, let's just skip up to 40 because 40 is in the 8 times table. 48, 56. We've gone past 54. 54 is not in the 8 times table. Doesn't matter if it's in the, if 72 is, it doesn't matter. Then to 9, are these in the 9 times table? Well, look, the little trick again. Do the digits add up to 9? Yes. Well, they're in the 9 times table. So we tick 2, 3, and 9. Perfect. Next up, question 18. Layla wants to buy a camera that costs £65. For the first 10 weeks, she saves £2 each week. Then she saves £3 each week. How many weeks altogether does Layla take to save the £65? Well, firstly, let's just jump forward 10 weeks because she does 10 weeks of saving £2. So £20 is saved in the first 10 weeks. We know that. So let's think, how many more weeks will it take? Well, we've got £65 to try and get to. We've already got 20. So we need now £45. And at this point, we're going to save £3 each week. So what we're asking really is we're going to do 10 weeks plus however many weeks of £3 it takes to get to 45. So the best way to think about this is to do 45. If we divide that by 3, which is £3 per week, the answer will be how many weeks it takes. 3's into 4 go once with 1 left over. 3's into 5 go 5 times. It takes 15 weeks to make it up to £65. So 10 weeks for the first 20, 15 weeks for the next 45. That's £65 altogether, which will get her the camera, which means the total time waiting is 10 weeks plus 15 weeks. It's 25 weeks. That's about half a year waiting to save up for a camera. Wow, I hope she enjoys it. Question 19, complete this division. This question is fantastic. So what we've got here is we're dividing by 12, and we know whatever we get in this box, right? Whatever we get in this box, the answer is 4 remainder 1. So we get 4 lots of 12 in this box plus 1. So 4 lots of 12 is 48 plus 1 gets us to 49. So we had to have 49 written in this box, which means it had to be a 9. Yes, that does tell us that we had to exchange over a 4, of course. But here's the thing. That doesn't matter because we can work backwards. Next thing, 12s into whatever was here goes 6 times. Well, what is 6 times 12? We're just working backwards. 6 times 12 is 72. So this had to be 72. However, we know we exchanged over the 4. So that still works. We had to have 76 here to have the 4 left over, which makes 72. So we had to exchange over a 7. My goodness me. So the next thing we think about is this 43. Whatever happened, however many 12s went in here, we had to have 7 left over. So let's do our 43, take away 7. What do we end up with? It's 36. Now, luckily for us, that goes exactly into 12, 3 times. So 12s into 4 obviously don't go. We had to exchange over to make it 43. 12s into 43 goes 3 times with 7 left over. That works. 36 now. 12s into 76, sorry, not 36. 12s into 76 goes 6 times with 4 left over. 12s into 49 go 4 times with 1 left over. That's where the remainder comes from. Love that question. Very interesting take on short division to make it a problem. Here are 4 shapes on a grid. A, B, C, D. Write the letters of all the shapes, which means it could be more than one, that only have 2 acute angles. Well, let's take a look. Let's start with D. Why not? This is acute because it's less than 90, remember? That's what acute means. This is acute, and this one is obtuse. So this has 2 acute angles, so I can put D. Let's go to C. This is a right angle, so it's not acute. It's a right angle. It's not acute or obtuse. It's exactly 90 degrees. This is less than 90. This is less than 90, so we can put C. This has 2 right angles. This has 2 right angles. So right, let's of all the shapes that have only 2 acute angles. Let's keep going. B. This is less than 90. This is less than 90. And these are bigger. This has 2. My goodness. B, C, and D. Now let's look at A. This is less than 90. This is less than 90. And this, A has 3. So A is the only one that doesn't have only 2 acute angles. The rest only have 2. B, C, and D gets you the mark. Question 21. A band holds a concert for a charity. The tickets cost £27 each and they sell 635 tickets. So that's how much money they took altogether. That's called revenue. That's how much money you take in. They pay $3,180 to use the hall. So it costs them a certain amount of money to use the hall. And then they give 1/3 of the remaining amount to charity. How much money does the band give to charity? Well, there's lots going on here. First thing we have to work out is how much money they took in from ticket sales. So the first job here is we have 635 tickets and we're going to multiply it by 27 using some long multiplication. This will tell us how much the band makes. So we're going to start by multiplying it by 7 for the top row. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 3 is 21, plus the 3 is 24. 7 times 6 is 42, plus the 2 is 44. 4, 4, 4, 5. Okay, and then we're going to multiply by 20 at the bottom, so put a placeholder in. 2 5s are 10. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 2 times 6 is 12, and then we're going to add these up. 5 plus 0 is 5, 4 plus 0 is 4, 4 plus 7 is 11, 4 plus 2 plus 1 is 7, and then drop that 1 down. The band took in 17,145 for their performance. Okay, nowhere near finished. This is a 3-mark question if you hadn't seen it. Then they pay this much to use the hall because they only give what's remaining. So we need to take off the hall cost first. So we're going to take 17,145. We're going to take off 3,180, which is the cost to use the hall. And then we'll see what profit they've made. 5 take away 0 is 5. 4 take away 8, we're going to have to exchange. 14 take away 8 is 6. 0 take away 1, again, we're going to have to exchange. 10 take away 1 is 9. 6 take away 3 is going to be 3. And then 1, just drop it down. Beautiful. Then they give 1/3 of the remaining amount to charity. Okay, well, let's find out how much they gave to charity then. So we're going to have to take 13,965. And we're going to divide it by 3 because we want 1/3. That's how much they're going to give to charity. 3's into 1 don't go. The 1 goes over. 3's into 13. 3, 6, 9, 12. 4 times with 1 left over. 3's into 19. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Goes 6 times with 1 left over. Oh my God, we've got 1 left over again, I think. 3's into 16. Go 5 times with 1 left over. Finally, 3's into 15. Go exactly 5 times. The band gave £4,655 to charity. A proper 3-step problem. Work out how much money they took, take away the cost of the hall, divide it by 3, and that's your answer. 3 marks. My goodness. Nice question. Sarah makes jewelry using black and white beads. She uses a rule to work out how many black beads she needs to use. The number of black beads is equal to the number of white beads times 3 plus 4. Sarah uses 12 white beads to make a necklace. How many black beads does she use? Well, this is easy. We want to work out how many black beads. So in the equation, we put 12 white beads multiplied by 3, and then we're going to add 4 on at the end. So 12 multiplied by 3 is 36. Add 4 is 40. So with 12 white beads, she needs 40 black beads. Sarah uses 25 black beads to make a bracelet. How many white beads does she use? Well, this is the same again, but instead of writing in the white bead, we're going to write in the black beads. So we have 25 equals white, we don't know, times 3 plus 4. So how can we balance this equation? Well, do you know what we can do? Let's take 4 off each side. That way it stays balanced. So take away 4 off this side. We get rid of that plus 4 because plus 4 take away 4 cancels out. And if we take away 4 here, we get 21. So 21 equals white times 3. So now it's just a times tables question. What do we multiply by 3 to get 21? The answer is 7. If you wanted to check, you could put 7 in here. 7 times 3 is 21, plus 4 is 25. 25 black beads from the question. Lovely. Question, 26. Sorry, what am I talking about? Question 26. I can do all these questions, but I can't count. Question 23. Complete the table. Name of 3D shape, number of faces. Fantastic question. Cube. Just think of a dice. How many different possibilities are there when you roll a standard dice? There are 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's because there are 6 faces. Simple as that. Pentagonal prism. Fantastic question. A pentagon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, if it's a prism, we know we have a face on either end. That's a pentagon, so that's already 2. And then we think, how many faces would we need in the middle? Well, it's just the number of sides on the pentagon. Because look, we'd have one rectangle for one side. We need another rectangle for the next side. Another rectangle for the next side. Another rectangle for the next side. Another rectangle for this side. We need another face for each side of the pentagon. So 2, 1 for each end. And then 5 in the middle, because there are 5 sides in a pentagon. That gets us 7 faces. A triangular base pyramid. I'm going to draw a net for this one. Here's my base for the triangle. That's 1 face we need. We need another face for this edge to bring up to the top. Another face for this edge to bring up to the top. And another face for this edge to bring up to the top. That's 4 faces in total. It might look a little bit like this when it's all together. I'm going to try and draw it. It's a bit of a naff drawing. But there you get the idea. We need 3 faces around and then 1 at the bottom. That's 4 in total. Question 24. 1/2 times 5/6 is greater than the value of 1/3 times 7/8. Explain how you know. Well, there's a number of ways you can do this. You can literally do the maths to prove it. 1/2 times 5/6 is greater than 1/3 times 7/8. Well, how do we know this? Well, we could just multiply it out. 5 times 1 is 5 over 12 is greater than 1 over 3 multiplied by 7 over 8. That's going to get us 7 over 24. Now, the awesome thing we can see here is that 12 goes into 24. So straight away we can say this is equivalent to 10 over 24, which means quite obviously it's bigger. So you can use maths to explain this. You can do the maths here, and you can then explain, I know it's bigger, I know this is greater, because when the denominators are the same, the numerator is greater for 1/2 times 5/6. Simple as that. You can use the maths to then explain it, and you finish the test. So guys, how do you think you got on? Whack the like button if you found this helpful. I know you've been waiting. I know. I'm so sorry. But guys, we will be making more videos. We really are excited though about the new service with our tutoring. So if you're in year 4, year 5 or year 6, get in touch. It's completely free trial for the first week to try out our tutoring sessions, and we have loads of resources online. Hopefully you found this useful. I can't wait to do more videos for you. And please forgive us for making you wait.